some cask influence, some vanilla, some caramel still there. Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Lüning, Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today we have a Glenlivet Nàdurra here in my cask, and I already had a Glenlivet Nàdurra for tasting, but I think that was a Oloroso sherry cask, matured whiskey. And the Nàdurra, this one, is very, very special because it is finished in heavily peated whiskey casks. What does this mean? Well, a distillery as big as Glenlivet is has some problems to produce a peated whiskey as well as a non-peated whiskey and switch over from one production to the other, because to clean up the whole system, to empty the intermediate receivers, to clean the spirit vat, everything takes a lot of time, a lot of money, so that those big distilleries avoid changing their receipt for the production of whiskey. So Glenlivet produces without peat smoke in the barley, and therefore how are they able to bring the peat smoke in the whiskey? Well, by maturation in casks which contained, as the first fill, a peated whiskey, probably from Islay, probably from the Speyside, from one of the whiskey distilleries which are owned by the Chivers and Glenlivet group, which are set up to produce very peated whiskey. This one is a small batch, no chill filtration, and bottle at cask strength. It's 61.5, quite hefty, and the batch number is PW0715. 0715 is also the date of the bottling, July 2015. On the back they say Nàdurra in Gaelic means natural. Using traditional 19th century methods, it is bottled at natural cask strength and released in small batches. Unlike the most modern whiskies, it has not been chill filtered, resulting in greater body and a distinctly creamy texture and mouthfeel, delivering all the properties you'd expect from a whiskey that has just been drawn straight from the cask. There is a slight filtration in it because you do not want to have those residues of the charcoal swimming in the whiskey. Nàdurra peated whiskey cask finish draws its inspiration from the historic traditions of whiskey making at the Glenlivet, where peat smoke was originally used to dry the malted barley. This unique addition to the Glenlivet range is finished in casks which have previously held heavily peated Scotch whiskey. The peat cask enrich the mature whiskey with gentle aromatic smoky notes which complement the smooth fruitiness that has made the Glenlivet so famous. What we learned from this is those are not first fill casks, those are at least second fill casks, where other whiskey drawn the major tasting components, the vanilla, the caramel, out of the staves of the cask. So it's a refill, and it's enriched by, well, the smokiness of the whiskey which matured in that before, and the porous walls of the whiskey cask contains whiskey, smoky whiskey, and there might be a residue in the cask of the smoky whiskey. I don't know how much. Typically a few liters remain in it if you dump it quite fast. Tasting notes, color, amber gold, so it's quite light. This is the refill cask. A nose, a burst of soft red apples, citrus zest and aromatic smoke. Palate, rich, tangy marmalade, creamy vanilla, toffee and a distinct toasted smokiness. Finish, complex, lengthy and spicy with a layer of subtle smoke. I have no idea if this whiskey is colored or not. No. And the cork is quite loose, and therefore the bottle reached my table because it leaked a little bit. Well, this is Glenlivet Founder's Reserve. This is a young whiskey with the apple pear taste. The citrus zest is far away, and there is some cask influence, some vanilla, some caramel still there, and a faint smokiness, not too intense. And the Nàdurra had been, well, in former times, the Nàdurra had been 16 years of age or 14 years of age. And then a few years ago, when the demand for Glenlivet was that high, then they omitted the age of the Nàdurra and they filled quite young whiskey in the bottles. And I had an Oloroso finished or Oloroso cask matured Nàdurra, which was very, very intense and very good, even being that young, because the cask has such a big influence. And here we have, well, the cask is quite weak, and just the smokiness from the whiskey before shows an influence. And this is a very lightly smoky Founder's Reserve whiskey. And the alcohol is, yeah, there's a stitch of alcohol in it, 61.5, that's a lot. I won't taste it without water, no. So here there's a difficulty to give you, well, the need to buy this bottle. Just a light smokiness. If you look at the typical content of a heftily smoky whiskey, it's 50 ppm. And how much whiskey is left over in the cask after the first filling, after dumping the first whiskey? Well, probably a 200-liter cask, and you have 4 liters in it, so it's left over, it's 2%, and 2% out of 50 ppm is 1 ppm, so you might have 1 ppm of smokiness in this whiskey. And well, there's a non-linearity in your taste, that if you increase the smokiness 10 times, you might feel only a 2 or 3 times smoky whiskey. So 1 ppm is a lot more than 0, but it's a lot less than those 50 ppm which were before. So I think I'm lacking the cask influence. The whiskey is quite light. It's golden amber is not the right word. It's white wine. It's golden, light golden. And so we have a very weak influence of the cask. The whiskey is also not matured for a long time, so the cask influence is weak by nature, by Nàdurra. I'm still above 45 ABV, so it's intense, but it's young. It's really young, and the smokiness is very, very faint. So I would suggest put your money in whiskies which matured in first fill cask, bourbon, which is I think available at Nàdurra, or the Oloroso sherry cask Nàdurra, which is a lot more better. But this one is neither fish nor meat. It's neither smoky nor matured. Yeah. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned, there's more to come, and always feel free to add your comments to this bottle in our whiskey database on Whisky.com.